Vizquera, Philippine National Anthem, the NEUST, introductions of presenters, Miss Vizquera and Miss Jesta. Let us open our hearts to the Lord and pray. We thank you for this new day, Lord. We come to you today asking for your guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin this meeting. Help us to engage in meaningful discussion, allow us to grow closer as a group, and nurture our bands. Fill us with your grace, Lord God, as we make decisions. And continue to remind us that all that we do here today, all that we accomplish, is for the pursuit of truth, for the greater glory of you, and for the service of humanity. We ask these things in your name. She graduated at Eduardo Alhozon Memorial High School. She currently living at Ilog Baliwag, Quezon, Nueva Ecija. She took the College of Education's major in Industrial Arts, Achievement with Honors. Motto in her life: never let yourself to be self-conceited. As long as you know your limitations and purpose, make the best out of it. And she is Christine Jane P. Vizquera from BSIE 2B. She graduated at Talavera Senior High School. She lived at San Miguel, Namunti, Talavera, Nueva Ecija. She currently took the College of Education's major in Industrial Arts, Achievement with Honors, NC Holders Work Immersions Awardee. Her motto in life: successful people have no fear of failure, but unsuccessful people do. Successful people have the resilience to face up the failure, learn the lessons, and adopt from it. And she is Apple Grace Jesta from BSIE 2B.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2,
Subi and we are presenting on the subject of
Technology for the Teaching Learning 1.
and my name is Christine Jane Pibisquera, one of the presenters who will undoubtedly extend your horizons. So let's get started. Our webinar's presentations is about intellectual property rights and plagiarism. Just focus and listen to my partner, Miss Jesta, as a first presenter.
We'd love to hear from you, Miss Piscara. I'll start by explaining everything we need to know about intellectual property in my presentation. The first topic I'm going to discuss is intellectual property. Intellectual property comprises patents, copyrights, trademarks, and trade secrets. A person or business can claim exclusive rights to the products and processes that these protections safeguard. However, understanding the laws related to each of these areas can be challenging, but just an idea by itself is not a patent, is not a trademark, and is not a copyright. Intellectual property is a very complicated idea and covers a wide range of creation. The best way to understand the different types of intellectual property is by learning different methods for registering this property. Essentially, anything that you create using your mind is intellectual property. Intellectual property examples are arts and design, literary works, music, symbols, images, and names used for businesses. Intellectual property is that which has been created by the human mind, either intellectual or creative. Intellectual property is considered an intangible asset. Owners of intellectual property have exclusive rights that are protected against unauthorized use for certain periods of time that are determined by the type of intellectual property in question. The United States Copyright Office, as well as the United States Patent and Trademark Office, oversee all intellectual property rights in the United States. The World Intellectual Property Organization is the officiating entity for all participating countries worldwide. Intellectual property resources. Intellectual property resources include copyright law, patent law, trademark law, and the law of trade secrets, although other related fields are often included as well. Copyright law grants a set of exclusive rights to the author or creator of an original work. Trademark law protects distinctive marks that are used as product identifiers to only individuals or businesses. Trade secret laws protect commercially advantageous pieces of information provided the information is not readily known or generally uncertainable and the information is kept secret by reasonable measures. Intellectual property laws. Intellectual property laws protects rights of any person or business who create artistic work. There are different types of intellectual property law includes first, copyright, second, patent, and third, trademarks, fourth, trade secrets. Overview of intellectual property. Artistic work can include music, literature, plays, discoveries, invention, words, phrases, symbols, and design. Intellectual property law aims to encourage new technologies, artistic expression, and invention that all promote economic growth. Example of these are Intellectual Property Code of the Philippines, an overview. Republic Act Number 8293, an act prescribing the Intellectual Property Code and establishing the Intellectual Property Office, providing for its power and functions, and for other purposes. otherwise known as the Intellectual Property Code of the Philippines. State Policy Declaration. The state recognized that an effective intellectual and industrial property system is vital to the development of domestic and creative activity, facilitates transfer of technology, attracts foreign investments, and ensures market access for our products. It shall protect and secure the exclusive rights of scientists, inventors, artists, and other gifted citizens to their intellectual property and creations, particularly when beneficial to the people for such periods as provided in this Act. So, let's focus in here for Miss Bisquera regarding on her presentation.
Plagiarism is one form of academic dishonesty. It is claiming or appearing to claim another's work as your own by not acknowledging it. It is defined from the Council of Writing Program Administrators. Plagiarism is defined as the act of duplicating someone else's work without giving credit. It goes far beyond than that. And it doesn't matter what you wrote. What is you wrote? Plagiarism is defined as more than just copying content word for word. Avoiding plagiarism. Use another person's idea, opinion, or theory. Use any facts, statistics, graphs, drawings, any pieces of information that are common knowledge. Quote and paraphrase another person's actual spoken or written words. Learn how to cite for your discipline. Each discipline may use different standards and citation styles. When writing, assemble your sources. Identify ones that must helpful and take good notes. Give always creditations when citing. Sometimes it may find at the references. Incorporating others' work into your writing correctly. First, quoting must be identical to the original. Quote must match the source document word for word, then must be attributed to the original author. Next one is paraphrasing. Involves putting a passage from a source into your own words. A paraphrase must also be attributed to the original sources. Its materials is usually shorter than the original passage, taking somewhat broader segment of the source and condensing it. Lastly, summarizing. Involves putting the main ideas into your own words, including the main points. It must be attributed to the original sources. Summarized are significantly shorter than the original and take a broad overview of the source material. Plagiarism, intellectual property, everything you need to know. Plagiarism of intellectual property is when you pass another person's idea or work off as your own. There are many consequences of plagiarism, but all of these are severe. And here it is, plagiarism of intellectual property in academia. Most people encounter the concept of plagiarism in school because universities take academic dishonesty and plagiarism is very seriously. With more of the world's information readily available via internet, more ethical and moral boundaries are challenged by the dishonest use of this information. Here are the consequences. We probably all know that those indicated in consequences, the failing grades, expulsion from college, and class dismissal. By not getting to the point in it, we must comply and complete the task on time. We, as a student, we are responsible to accomplish all school matters for us not to be able to experience those consequences. Avoiding plagiarism. Thus, an internet had a large effect on plagiarism. Paper copywriting services have cropped up all over the web, making it easy for students to obtain illegal written materials and pass them off as their own. If there's unnecessary that you are doubted about your citing, you can ask your respective professor on how to properly citing. Don't cheat, cite your sources, cite your own work, and talk to the professor when in doubt. These are the way in avoiding plagiarism easily. Next, plagiarism and intellectual property rights. Research and development have a key role of shaping public perceptions now and were part of the information's generation. Intellectual property is defined as the creative, original ideas or work that is protected by the copyright or trademark. Plagiarism does not always equal in copyright infringement, although copyright is only considered infringed when a violation of copyright is in law occur. It is indeed essential to understand knowledge-based assets such as designs, ideas, and innovations while paying attention to ownership. Ownership of intellectual property has become a major issue in the modern world. Law classify original ideas into the following categories: trademarks, copyright for literary works, invention patents, and trade secrets. Essentially, intellectual property refers to whatever the human mind creates, which can be original idea, expression, and even in design. Lastly, the plagiarism law. Plagiarism is in fact a legal offense that must be taken seriously. According to copyright law, the copyright owner has the right to sue a violator in federal court. Beyond stealing intellectual property, plagiarizing another's work is called fraud. An owner doesn't have to file the copyright when creating a new work. Copyright protections are automatically assigned to the work. Making your own additions doesn't make copying the material acceptable. Make it sound less serious, but plagiarism is always fraud. And that's all about my webinar's topic. And again, let's hear and focus to Miss Jesta to explain what is copyright.
What a wonderful explanation, Ms. Vizquera. So let's proceed in copyright. Copyright literally means the right to copy, but has to come to mean that body of exclusive rights granted by law to copyright owners for protection of their work. Copyright protection does not extend to any idea, procedure, process, system, title, principle, or discovery. Similarly, names, titles, short phrases, slogans, familiar symbols, mere variation of typographic ornamentation, lettering, coloring, and listings of contents or ingredients are not subject to copyright. So what are copyright owner exclusive rights? Depending on the subject matter, some of the exclusive rights include the right to control the use of reproduction of the material, the right to put the material online, the right to make copies available to the public for the first time, and the right to perform the material in public. How copyright works. In the Philippines, copyright protection for artistic, literary, and derivative works lasts during the lifetime of the author plus 50 years after the author's death. These terms of protection also apply to the posthumous works. In the case of joint authorship, the economic right shall be protected during the lifetime of the last surviving author, plus 50 years after such author's death. Unauthorized use. Unauthorized use means to use of your credit card by a person other than you, who does not have actual implied or apparent authority for such use, and from which you receive no benefit. It also viewing copying, transferring, modifying, or making public the files, printouts, or computed processes of another user unless you have their oral or written permission. Unauthorized use infringement. If someone uses your invention, design, trademark, or copyrighted work without permission, it may be an infringement of your rights. You must also make sure not infringe on not rights of others. You apply for a patent for your invention and protection of your trademark or your design at PRV. If your application is approved, you will receive a registered exclusive right. Copyright arises automatically when the work is created. For example, when you write a text or encode a computer program. You do not need to apply for it. Different types of infringements. First, patent infringement. Second, trademark infringement. Third, design infringement. And fourth, copyright infringement.
And that's all about our webinar's presentation. Originality is undetected plagiarism. It is by William Ralph Inge. Therefore, if originality means thinking for oneself and not thinking differently from other people, a man does not confiscate his claim to it by saying things which have appeared to others. Originality does not consist in saying what no one has ever said before, but in saying exactly what you think yourself. The validity of being original will be structures of the origin itself. We hope you learned a lot that you will use nor apply in the near future. Especially thank you to Mr. Jermil Angeles who gave us an opportunity for this kind of presentation. And thank you. God bless us all.